tank and the museum, the Armor Museum will be set up at Fort Benning, and will not include, Fort Knox will no longer include tanks.
Okay.
There's your Traverse motor right there.
There we are. There's the Traverse drive.
Around here here is the bow gunner's seat.
Okay.
Some of the guards out of the turret, the motors. All the parts are basically here, minus the artifacts that have been taken up to the museum.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see here. Here's the Traverse handle, matter of fact, you were asking about it.
Yeah.
This is some of the stuff that we removed out of the ammo rack. That's the handbrake for the Traverse rack.
Okay. I didn't know they had that, but okay.
And this is paper products, cigarette packs. This was in the bird nest in the 76 ammo rack on the turret floor. And then, let's see, these are all the inserts that came out of the ammo racks in the hull, on the hull floor. Of course, this is, last Wednesday, I removed the TC Cupola Vision block, and of course I had to damage it. Of course, it was beyond use. But everything we do, we keep. And, you know, historic broken glass. I get historic dirt. And here's the TC Cupola. What this is I basically made a sift box. And when I would take debris out of the hull, this is uncategoried and unseparated debris. Right here. Here's a projectile for 30 cal from some of the ruptured casings. And we can't just throw this stuff away because there is a certain degree of artifacts to be found in this stuff. And there's just been so much stuff. It's basically an archaeological dig.
Well, you never know when something useful will come up off of a little scrap of paper you find.
Right, and like that. This is probably separator balsa wood out of ammo crates. Of course, charred. You can see the charring stuff.
Yeah. And
we're also finding bits of uniform still in the debris. There's a piece of cork or something. But this is stuff in the last 6 months or 8 months or so that I've been digging out of the hull. And it was decided early on, I was kind of anointed. I don't know, that's kind of big. It was agreed upon that there would be a very exclusive number of people working on Cobra King, not necessarily because we're the best or anything, but that way it limits the amount of loss of stuff. Also unification of effort. My primary focus was doing certain things, but then when we were at a stalemate, I just kind of jumped in the tank and I started digging, and I started finding all this stuff. And so I kind of was de facto became the archaeologist to the interior of the tank because nobody else really knew where I was working, what I was doing, how I was doing it. So it kind of came down on me. And so a lot of the work you see, I did most of it. Had a lot of help, but this is just some of the raw stuff as was found, embedded up underneath the driver's compartment, floorboard, and underneath the transmission housing.
It makes your snapshot in time.
Yeah, and it is. I mean, this is 1945 Germany. Like I said, historic dirt.
Yep. Oh, it's important. Every bit is important.
But,
and keeping the crew to one group of people is wise because continuity isn't affected. There's no need to keep bringing people up to speed on different things.
Oh yeah, and it also it's kind of a the restricted access. That way, things don't disappear or things are not undone that shouldn't be undone. Such as the items I've left on the side of the hull. Most of it I'll take off, but big thing is categorizing it and recording it, taking good photos, kind of figure out what it means, and then it'll end up being totally stripped off and repainted, except for the Cobra King. And if we had had more people, this thing would be done by now. But we wouldn't have been able to encapsulate the raw history and archaeological finds that we're making. And
Well, this is an important vehicle. We, you know, myself and others at Ferris at the time wondered why it was sitting there in a parade ground when it should have been back here,
Nobody
even in
cared.
those days. Well, I know, nobody gave a rip.
Institutionally.
Yeah.
And it was only continual efforts of people to link it actually and factually historically that somebody started noticing. And actually, ashamed to say that probably started in 2001 for real. And by 2006, there was another effort, and then